massive, shaggy, woolly mammoth stomping through the icy tundra, trumpeting like it's the boss of the Stone Age world. And poor Grog, our muscle-bound but oh-so-clueless dad, staring at it with his empty stomach growling louder than a thunderstorm. He's got his family depending on him, but one wrong move and splat. Game over. How on earth did these ancient folks turn the tables on these beasts without modern gadgets? Stick around, because we're diving into the hilarious highs and hairy lows of mammoth hunting with Grog and his crew showing us the ropes. You won't believe the clever twists ahead. Now, the real story begins. Back in the Stone Age, about 40,000 years ago, humans weren't just surviving. They were outsmarting giants like woolly mammoths that weighed as much as 6 cars stacked up. Yeah, you heard that right. These beasts were no joke, with tusks longer than your arm span and fur thicker than your winter coat. But why watch this? Because it's not just history. It's a wild ride of ingenuity that makes your daily grocery run look like child's play. Hang tight, because by the end, you'll see how they crack the code on mammoth takedowns, and maybe rethink your own problem-solving skills. First off, let's set the scene in the frosty plains where Grog's family is huddled around a flickering fire, their bellies rumbling like distant thunder. Grog, with his massive arms flexed, spots a lone mammoth grazing nearby. Talk about temptation, but charging in blindly? That's a recipe for disaster, folks. Ancient hunters knew better. They started with observation, watching mammoth herds migrate like clockwork. Imagine Grog clumsily trying to sneak closer, tripping over a rock and face-planting in the snow. Hilarious, right? But it gets you thinking, how did they turn that blunder into a breakthrough? Well, they learned the mammoth's weak spots, like their poor eyesight up close. Phew, that was close for Grog. But wait, there's more cunning ahead. Urka steps in with her brains over brawn approach, pointing out natural traps in the landscape. Picture jagged cliffs and deep ravines dotting the tundra, perfect for steering a mammoth right off the edge. Early humans drove herds toward these death drops using fire and noise, torches waving wildly, shouts echoing like a prehistoric rock concert. Urka, ever the strategist, might have nudged Grog to gather the clan for this. It's exhilarating to think about, but also a bit wild. Could you imagine herding elephants off a cliff today? Nah, we'd call animal control, yet this method worked wonders. But hold on. What if the mammoth fights back? That's the nail-biter coming up. Now, let's ponder the tools of the trade. Stone-tipped spears, folks, sharpened to perfection on flint rocks. Grog hefts one up, feeling like a hero. But oops, his first throw misses by a mile, embedding in a snowdrift instead. Cue the laughter! These spears weren't just poked. Ancient folks used atlatls, those clever throwing sticks that added megaforce like a Stone Age slingshot on steroids. It turned a wimpy toss into a deadly dart. Makes you reflect. In our world of delivery apps, we've lost that raw thrill of crafting your own gear. But seriously, Grog's learning curve here is steep. And speaking of which, if you're hooked so far, join the tribe. Don't forget to subscribe right now. Teamwork makes the dream work, as Boo-Boo the energetic kid bounces around, mimicking the adults' plans. Grandpa the cranky grandpa grumbles from the sidelines about how, back in my day, we did it tougher. But even he chips in wisdom on pit traps, deep holes dug with bone shovels, camouflaged with branches and snow. Ancient evidence shows sites where dozens of mammoths piled up in these traps, lured by bait or driven in panic. Imagine Grandpa overseeing the dig, huffing and puffing while the family hauls dirt. It's a mix of grueling work and triumphant whoops when it pays off. Thought-provoking, isn't it? In modern times, we trap deals online, but they trap dinner. For our next video, what topic do you want? Share your ideas in the comments. Your thoughts matter. Enter Zeke, the absurd pet dino thing who unwittingly becomes the decoy, scampering around to draw the mammoth's attention. Hunters used similar distractions: fire, rocks thrown, even animal calls mimicked to confuse the prey. Zeke's antics might have caused a slip-up, like tripping Grog mid-throw, but it highlights the unpredictability. Shocking how these folks turned chaos into strategy. Guess what happened when the mammoth finally tumbled? And hey, modern life sometimes feels too complicated, right? Would you want to live in the Stone Age? Once downed, the real work began. Butchering with stone blades, a bloody, efficient affair that fed the tribe for weeks. Grog, covered in fur and triumph, hauls back massive haunches, while Urka portions it out smartly. Archaeological finds, like Clovis points embedded in bones, prove they thrust spears like pikes into charging beasts, bracing against the ground. It's awe-inspiring, from fear to feast. Makes you empathetic. Their survival hacks beat our microwave meals any day. Which era would you like to live in? Write in the comments. Boo Boo's wide-eyed wonder at the massive tusks sparks ideas for tools, ivory carved into needles, bones into weapons. This recycling mindset was genius, nothing wasted in the Stone Age. Grandpa nods approvingly for once, muttering less. It's a feel-good turnaround from the initial hunger panic. And there you have it, the epic saga of how Stone Age folks, like our bumbling but brilliant Grog and family, turned mammoth mayhem into masterful meals. No capes, just cleverness and courage. Next time you're facing a mammoth problem, channel your inner Urka and think traps, not tantrums. Thanks for watching. Hit that like if you learned something fun, and we'll catch you in the next prehistoric adventure.